Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to use some energy cards to paint a Pokédex on. Now this is going to be a really long-term video because the Pokédex has a ton of entries and each of these paintings takes a decent while. But yeah, my idea was, and I've tried to draw this like a while back, that I'm going to essentially use these energy cards to draw the Pokemon from the Pokemon Ranger Pokédex on. I did make an artwork for this before when I was younger, because I really love the games, but I don't know, it didn't really turn out the way I wanted, so I wanted to retry this, and I thought it would be super cute to draw all the Pokemon on their corresponding energy cards. I'm going to also cheat in the future because I actually printed myself some dragon and normal type energies so that, you know, I have those in the background because you don't really ever get energy cards for them, but I feel like it's more fitting to have them. So I just got them printed with a colored printer, and for the future they're definitely gonna appear, but for now I actually am going to start with some of the grass types, and I'm just going to work my way down the Pokédex. I only managed to draw 3 Pokemon this time, but I think they all turned out really well. And what you saw me use in the beginning was actually a template, like I printed out the entire like pixelated artwork from the Pokédex because I tried to freehand these and I just couldn't get the scaling right, and I really want them to scale nicely. Also, I'm going to cut them out in the rounded shape of the energy icon, so anything that's over the edges of the middle energy icon, it's going to be like essentially gone. That's why I won't bother to like paint too detailed over the edges, but I really want to like have most of the Pokemon, or at least most of the faces, on the cards. But yeah, starting out with a standard grass type trio. I really love this trio and I'm so happy I got to paint it. I mean, they look so happy. Look at this guy, look at this Bulbasaur, he looks so happy. And Ivysaur and Venusaur too. I just love their colors. I love like the green tones, this like sage almost greens, and then the darker greens they have with the like reds, especially in the flowering, that the other two have. I think it like really works well, and I think they all look so cute together. So starting out with them was actually really nice, considering that the next 3 Pokemon that are in a Pokédex aren't quite my favorite, although I think they still are a cool design. This was definitely a nice start to that. I'm also going to in the end outline these guys, because I feel like it needs a thin black outline just to make them pop even more and make the details pop. But yeah, you can see I'm just using essentially a ball stylus, going over them, tracing the outlines. And this helps me because you can't really see it on camera, but there's indents of the entire outlines. Also, I'm trying for the evolution lines to keep the colors relatively the same. So I'm painting them all in one go, so that like all the colors of the base of the shadows and stuff are all the same and I don't have to mix them again, because it's always hard when you paint like one and then the other one has like the same colors to get that exact same color mixed again. I'm not that good at mixing colors, so you know, I always try to use up all the colors in one go that I need for the set. Also, I'm using model planes here. They are still sometimes needing 2 coats because I'm thinning them down a little bit with water, but they are nice and opaque and they have a nice variety of color. So these are just Vallejo model and game color. I use them all the time, I really like them, and I just feel like they work a bit better on this tiny scale than my heavy body acrylics. That's why I chose them, and I'm also using a tiny model paintbrush here. Like super tiny, which is absolutely necessary because, believe it or not, getting all the details in this dimension to like really look nice is actually quite difficult. And of course, the last of the trio is the big guy. Let me know in the comments down below if you've ever played the first few generations of Pokemon, which of the starters did you actually choose? Obviously, most people actually would have chosen Charizard. I actually chose these guys as my starters in the first generations. I did like Charizard, it was a really nice one to have with the fire type, but I just really loved the design of these guys so much. Like, you know, the first games, you couldn't really see the colors and stuff, so just picking based on shape, I like the dino shape of these guys and like the leaves and the flowers on top. I don't know if I've ever imagined them having these colors when I played this first, but I think the like green and teal colors in total, they fit them so well. And I just really love these guys. They can look super derpy and they look super chill, and with the greenery and stuff, it just looks like such a peaceful Pokemon in comparison to some of the more aggressive designs. Like, you know, the other guys are more like aggressive looking in general. Like, not that they are, but like their designs with their poses and stuff when you play the first games, they really look like, you know, they want to fight more. And these guys, I always thought they look so cute with how like chill they are. I think it really matches them, and like, you know, the idea of having like a nature type Pokemon that like is very like peaceful looking, I really love that. But yeah, look at these flowers. I just love this color. I really love how it pops against the green, and that's why I was so happy when I saw them in color for the first time after playing the game. Because I think it fits so well. Like, the color choices on the first generations of Pokemon are so nice, with the greens and then the opposing like red pinkish colors and the teals. But yeah, I had a lot of fun painting these. They have a lot of tiny details, and once you actually paint their sprites, and I'm gonna paint a lot of sprites, you actually realize that there's many more details than you may have thought when you just played the game. Also, most times when you have your starter, you only see it like from a weird angle on the side, so you may not actually be able to notice, you know, like these guys with their mouths being like kind of like a turtle's beak. It's just something that you don't see too often in the game when you play them yourself. But yeah, this guy's also almost done, and he looks so cute too, and so chunky. So let's actually get into outlining. I did let him dry a bit, but I knew that the markers, or like the fine liners that I'm using here, which are Sakura brand, by the way, are actually like, you know, not really like in this kind of texture of paint. Like, they scratch it off the surface, and when they do that, get clogged up a little bit. And so I have like a piece of paper there just to like paint the paint off, so to speak. But yeah, the longer you let it dry, the better it usually works, I found. But yeah, I'm using like really thin microns here. And like one of them has this like sharper tip. It's not quite a fine liner, it's more like a CD pen, marker pen. But I actually got through fine. I was really worried that like my nips really wouldn't paint anymore. But yeah, here we are. Time to cut these cards up. This is actually the most nerve-wracking thing after the line art, because I have to line it up pretty perfect to make this work. But it was so satisfying. The cutter I got is a little bit larger than the actual energy card circles, but you know, I think it actually is nice to have like the lighter border around. And I really loved how they turned out in the end. I was hoping that I really wouldn't ruin them in like actually cutting them out, but I think it's turned out exactly in the way that I imagined. But yeah, next up are these guys. Venus flytrap plants. I think the design is like cute and wonky, especially with like the like branchy legs that they have, or one of them has. But like I don't know, they look weird. They look funny weird. I love the older designs a lot. I think there's some really fun newer ones as well. But like, I don't know, I guess it's also a lot of nostalgia to see like the older designs. But yeah, the reason why I didn't choose the 151 Pokédex, but the Pokemon Ranger Pokédex, is because the Pokemon Ranger games, next to the Mystery Dungeon games, are actually my absolute favorite line of Pokemon games. Like, even more so than the main line. They were so much fun to play, the stories were so immersive, I really loved them. Really, really, really loved them quite a bit, and I played them so many times. And like, when I wanted to decide which Pokédex I wanted to draw, like, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon doesn't really have... I mean, it has a Pokédex, but it doesn't really have a collector's Pokédex in a way. Yes, you can try and get every Pokemon as your partner, but I feel like in Pokemon Ranger to try and catch every Pokemon is a bit more meaningful in comparison, while in Mystery Dungeon, like, the story is really what counts. So that's why I chose this one. And again, there are a lot of Pokemon in here. This will take quite a while to draw, but a lot of the Pokemon that are in this Pokédex I really like, so it also is like a choice of like, which Pokemon do I really want to draw? That being said, of course, there are some that I really don't care about drawing, but in this case, this is all about fun, and there's so many, they take so long, this will be like a couple of years of project. As you can see here, I actually shading in layers, and I can only do this with yellow really because the other colors are too opaque, but yellow is like really, really see-through. I needed like 5 coats. I started off with a white base coat or a slight white base coat just to give it a little bit of a chance to pop off the green, and then I added like 4 coats and then the shading and then another 2 coats on top, and I think it actually looks really nice with how the shading actually turns out after I'm essentially glazing it with the yellow. These are definitely going to be a little bit more textured because of the sheer paint, but you know, doesn't really matter. I really actually like the textured paint look. I think it adds a bit of character. I just love how derpy they look. Like, look at their eyes. Look at them being cross-eyed. It's just so cute. And again, the colors of them are so nice. The yellows, the pinks, the greens. Really, absolutely great color choices. And of course, lastly, time for the outlines. These are always a nice little bit of like detail, but I'm also really worried every time I like paint the eyes because I'm so worried that I'm messing it up and like getting the shape wonky and having to paint over, but luckily that didn't happen for these first 6. So let's stencil them out. Also, I like when I chose this cutter, essentially like they were everywhere. You can find them on Amazon and stuff. So I will not link them down below, but you can just find them everywhere as like punch cutters, sucker punch cutters. But yeah, here we are. These are the final results, and I am in love. Really, I'm so happy and so excited to like paint more of these. And eventually I want to like put them on a base and then hang them up in a picture frame all in like a row, but that will be in the far future once I'm done with all of them. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I hope you have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye!